Hey everyone, Ben Yunson here. With a new year on the horizon, this is always the time when I evaluate what do I need to work on? What do I see as the weaker areas of my own playing which I could strengthen with some focused practice? Well, you never know. 2025 might just be the year that you break through with some newfound discoveries on the guitar neck that happen to take your playing to the next level. And I'm hoping that I make a few discoveries of my own. So today, I'd like to discuss with you 10 concepts that I find to be incredibly beneficial that might help you in your practice in 2025. I'd love to hear what you find to be beneficial in the realm of guitar practice as well. And perhaps there's something in my list of 10 concepts that you find useful. Drop a comment and let me know. If you'd like to take your playing to the next level in 2025, make sure to join me at bensguitarclub.com, where you can learn with me with my mini lessons, masterclasses, and bundle packages, including the BGC bundle, which features all of my mini lessons and masterclasses in one package. The first concept that I find to be incredibly beneficial that I think is not discussed enough is sound production on the electric instrument. Now, if you speak to a classical guitar player, this is one of the most vital core elements of classical guitar playing. But in the realm of the electric guitar, it's something that seems to be a little more mysterious, but there are ways of perfecting it to get a great sound. For example, if we were to take the note A, we've got to make sure that we're not picking too hard. Don't love that sound. Or for that matter, picking too softly. Now there can be times where you can either play with the dynamic volume of the notes you're playing, or maybe if you're playing a different style of guitar, like rhythm guitar, the notes might need to be plucked hard. But generally speaking, it's really important to be able to get a sound out of the instrument that is not picked too hard or too lightly. And this helps in being able to play phrases with an even volume throughout, a little bit like this. Very important to be aware of your sound production with the right hand and also your dynamic volume. Our second concept for today is triads. Having a strong understanding of triads all over the guitar neck will unquestionably expand the improvisational language of any guitarist. And I talk about this a lot in my masterclass, How to Solo with Triads at bensguitarclub.com. Making sure that you have a strong understanding of even just diatonic triads in the key of C major, a little bit like this. Can be incredibly beneficial not only in expanding your own language on the instrument, but also developing your overall understanding of harmony. And that brings us to concept number 3. Speaking of triads, it's also really important to have a good understanding of spread triads. Now, what do I mean when I say spread triads? If we have, for example, a basic close position triad, like what you just heard, with the notes C, E, and G, we can assign scale degrees to each note in that triad. C is 1, E is 3, and G is 5. If we rearrange the notes in this triad, so instead of 1, 3, 5, we have 1, 5, 3, we might have something like this. C is 1, G is 5, and E is 3. Played with a slightly more comfortable fingering, we have something that sounds like this. Just in the key of C major, it can be fantastic to experiment with spread triads a bit like this. And additionally, having a strong understanding of spread triads can be a great pathway to developing your solo guitar skills. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, it would be fantastic if you could give it a like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my upcoming playing videos, lesson videos, a bit like this one, and discussions about music. Concept number 4 that might just help develop your playing in 2025 is having a stronger understanding of 7th chord arpeggios. And this is something that I discuss in great depth in How to Practice Volume 2 at bensguitarclub.com. This could be a great year to break out of the box on the guitar neck and make sure that you can play arpeggio patterns in as many places as possible. For example, if you were to play a G major 7 arpeggio, you should make sure that you can play it here in root position, and in first inversion starting from B, and in second inversion starting from D, and my favorite, third inversion starting from F sharp. Concept number 5 that could be particularly helpful to develop in 2025 is your knowledge of pentatonic scales, and notably breaking out of the classic pentatonic patterns that we usually all start with, namely this one. Now there's nothing wrong with it, but there are plenty of other ways to utilize the pentatonic scale. For example, if I do have an E minor chord, we can very easily create some tension by employing a very dissonant pentatonic side slip. And of course resolving it a little bit like this. From F minor pentatonic to E minor pentatonic. And if you'd like to learn more about that, check this out up here. The 6th concept that is really helpful to work on is understanding chord voicings. And sadly, this is an area that is neglected by many electric guitar players. In fact, a great place to start is by understanding drop voicings. And drop voicings are reasonably common voicings, but not every guitarist knows how to classify them. For example, if you take the chord C major 7, here's a very common series of drop 2 inversions that can be used for any type of music. Make sure to watch my full drop voicing masterclass right here on my channel for more about these voicings. Concept number 7 is another really important one, and that is melody. Do you have a strong understanding of melody? Do you understand the concept of call and response, question and answer, or whatever you'd like to call it? One of the best ways you can develop the melodic side of your playing is by listening to improvisers who really specialize in beautiful melodic statements, people like Stan Getz and Keith Jarrett. Concept number 8 is developing your ability to play faster tempos, a bit like this. Now remember, when you're developing this technical side of your playing, I think it's very important to do this gradually. It may sound as though it's fast playing, but getting to this point is not a race. It's something that you should do gradually and very gently over time. One of the ways that you can develop your soloing at faster tempos is by taking out your metronome and finding the fastest tempo at which you can comfortably solo. Doesn't matter if you feel that it's a bit slow, it's where you are most comfortable at playing, for example, 8th note lines on the guitar. Once you've found your fastest, comfortable tempo, gradually increase this tempo in increments of, for example, 10 BPM, and stick with this very slightly faster tempo until you feel comfortable with it. Once you feel comfortable with it, then increase the tempo by another 10 BPM, and so on. Remember, creative expression is really what we're going for here, not just mindless, fast playing. Concept number 9 that can be really helpful to work on is something that we touched upon briefly when we were discussing the pentatonic scale earlier, and this is soloing over one chord vamps. It can be a great opportunity to start trying to play outside of the harmony, and I talk about this in some depth in this video up here. Just like we discussed with our side slip earlier, if you're playing over E minor, you could start off by taking an E minor 7 arpeggio, and again employing the side slip by taking it up a half step to F minor 7 over the sound of our E minor 7 chord, like this. F minor 7, resolving back downward to E minor 7. Playing the F minor 7 chord created some tension over E minor 7. And then of course the most important part is the release, that old principle of tension and release. The final concept that we'll be discussing today is maybe not as much of a practice-related concept as much as it is a conceptual idea relating to your overall identity as a musician, and that is making sure that you start to think of some original compositional ideas. And I mention this because developing your own compositional approach can really be beneficial in developing your own playing style. Once you have some familiar pieces of music to play over that really represent the way that you see the world and the way that you express your ideas through music, think about your own creative ideas. What do I want to play? What do I want to sound like? And most importantly, what does my compositional process look like when I'm trying to express my ideas and put them out in the world? And that's it. Did any of these concepts resonate with you? Is there any one of these in particular that you'll be working on in 2025? Maybe you'll be doing all of them. Maybe you'll be doing none of them. Make sure to drop a comment and let me know. And while you're at it, it would be fantastic if you could give this video a like so that we can push it out to as many people as possible, and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my upcoming playing videos, lesson videos, and discussions about music. And if you'd like to take your playing to the next level in 2025, join me at bensguitarclub.com. I'll see you next time.